Nak start tak? Jom start. Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss how bad smoking and vaping affect our lives, especially among teenagers. To begin our discussion, I would like to invite panel 1 to explain what are the main causes and that encourage teenagers to start smoking and vaping.
Thanks to the moderator for giving me chance to talk. First of all, smoking and vaping indeed a dangerous action that can harm physical and mental health, especially of a teenager. According to Dubé et al. 2023, peer influence, curiosity, and emotional stress are one of the main causes of smoking and vaping among teenagers. Many teenagers are encouraged by their friends to try cigarettes or vape products because they want to fit in, gain acceptance, and feel included in their social groups. During adolescence, young people are often influenced by the behaviors and opinions of their peers. This is what making them more likely to try smoking or vaping with their friends. In addition, curiosity plays a significant role as teenagers may want to experience the flavors or effects of vaping after hearing about it from others. For instance, adolescence is a stage where they are curious with everything. As a result, they will start to buy the cigarettes and the vape to try it with their friends. Furthermore, some teenagers turn smoking or vaping to cope with stress, anxiety, or personal problems because they believe it helps them feel calmer and more relaxed. For example, a teenager starts to smoke every time he's stressed after heard from a friend that smoke will make the stress gone. Over time, the teenager may continue vaping because it can become a habit and a way to manage stress. Therefore, peer pressure, curiosity, and emotional stress are significant factors that contribute to smoking and vaping among teenagers.
Thank you, panel 1, for explaining the causes. Since many teenagers begin these habits due to peer pressure and stress, I would like to ask panel 2, what are the effects of smoking on active and passive smokers? And do you think teenagers today are aware of the serious health risks caused by smoking?
So I'm going to explain some effects of smoking on active and passive smoker. There are many effects that could affect them. First and foremost, let's focus on the effects of smoking to active smoker. As we know, tobacco and death. It could take 1 in 5 lives, according to Clean AP Yearbook K and Co JC 2021. According to them, smoking is extremely connected with stroke risk. It has been demonstrated by many other studies that stroke risks are rise and alarming because daily amounts of smoking tobacco. Thus, an addictive dose exists that could be briefly expressed the expression of the more you smoke, the more you stroke. For instance, someone who smoked 1 to 14 cigarettes per day had higher risk of stroke than women who never smoke. Not only that, but smoking also strongly associated with lung cancer. This is because poison in cigarette smoke does damage DNA, increase blood pressure, and limiting heart oxygens. Cigarettes contain at least over 700 chemicals. The primary cancer causing is polycyclic such as benzoapyrene, and other than that, butadiene that used in rubber also. E-cigarettes also contain heavy metals and radioactive elements such as rat poison and polonium-210. This element could block specific cells and heavily injure the lung tissue. One of Now we continue with the effects on passive smoker. As we know, the most known effects to passive smoker is premature birth among pregnant women. Chemicals like nicotine, carbon monoxide, and tar restrict the oxygens and nutrients go through the placenta to develop as fetus. Besides that, there is also a highly chance the passive smoker also get lung disease because they inhale the same smoke that is inhaled by the consumer. Most of the element I mentioned before is the main reasons cigarettes lead to lung disease. And in addition, smoking leads to short-term effects on passive smoker too, such as burning eyes, coughing, sneezing, dizziness, and nausea. Therefore, whether one is actively inhaling the smoke or simply breathing in air, the second-hand air, the intensive chemical cocktail in cigarette poses several life-threatening risks to everyone exposed.
Thank you for the explanation. We have learned about smoking effects. Now, let us move to vaping. Panel 3, could you explain what are the effects of vaping on active and passive users? And I think many people believe vaping is safer than smoking. Do you agree with this statement and why?
I don't agree with the statement. The effects evaluated on smokers or former tobacco smokers were apparently positive. They support the idea that smokers who switch to e-cigarettes may experience some reduction in harms compared with continuing conventional cigarette smoking. Among healthy individuals, increased heart rate means arterial pressure, oxidative stress, alteration of respiratory cells, and increased airflow resistance were found. Vaping has been shown to increase heart rate, blood pressure, oxidative stress, and airflow resistance. Smokers or former smokers who switch to e-cigarettes may reduce their exposure to carcinogens and lower their risk of developing severe health issues associated with conventional smoking. According to Izquierdo Condor et al., smokers who switch from traditional cigarettes to e-cigarettes may reduce their exposure to carcinogens and lower their risk of severe smoking-related disease. However, in healthy individuals who have never been smoked traditional cigarette, the use of e-cigarette introduced several cardiovascular and respiratory adverse effects. E-cigarette use may cause cardiovascular and respiratory adverse effects.
Thank you, panel 3. So now we understand the risks associated with smoking and vaping. Next, I would like to invite panel 4. What solutions can be taken to reduce smoking and vaping among teenagers, and what benefits can they gain if they stop these habits? Besides support from family and schools, what other methods can help teenagers stop smoking and vaping?
Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to discuss how smoking and vaping affect teenagers' life. Smoking and vaping can harm teenagers' health, education, and overall well-being. Many young people start this habit because of peer pressure, curiosity, and social influence. According to Zhang and Zhao 2023, social media exposure is linked to increased e-cigarette use among adolescents and may negatively affect their academic performance. For example, teenagers who vape regularly may experience shortness of breath during sport activities and find it difficult to concentrate in class. To solve this problem, schools, parents, and community should work together to educate teenagers about the dangers of smoking and vaping while encouraging healthy activities such as sports and clubs. By staying away from smoking and vaping, teenagers can enjoy better health, improve academic results, and greater self-confidence and higher quality of life. Therefore, everyone has a role to play in helping teenagers build a healthier and more successful future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to all panelists for sharing your valuable opinions and information. To conclude, um, so, to conclude, smoking and vaping can seriously affect teenagers' health, academic performance, and overall well-being. Therefore, everyone should work together to create awareness and encourage healthier lifestyles among young people. Thank you.